overtaking possibilities around this circuit.
Okay, so of course there are the DRS zone with really good overtakes as we saw in 2021. Then there
Yeah,
is, of course, turn 12, a good
yeah,
overtaking opportunity. And we can't say actually turn 3 if you get a really good exit into turn 2, if I don't get
mm.
it wrong. But the race is starting now. Yeah, the
And we're
race.
underway. We are indeed underway here in this sprint. Tablet trying to challenge Paddy going into the first corner. Maxi Monster and Italian going side by side. The Alfa Romeo forced out wide, but it is still Paddy currently in the lead. Going through the retroposter and now heading down this straight going towards turn 4, I believe. But it is
Yeah,
Paddy who's kept his nose clean out in front. It is Tablet Storm who remains in second place. And so far, Mickey, no front wings have seemed to have got broken.
yeah, that's it's actually pretty optimal for everyone because the field now is gonna be a little bit more compact that could have been with some front wing damage, and that means more racing and more overtaking possibilities for everyone. As we've seen Storm really hungry for a win. This this win because it's actually really close to Paddy and trying to get his nose ahead of his rear diffuser, setting the
Exactly, and the exit
sector.
off the exit off of the final corner is critical. Oliver had to spin going through turn 8. I don't know if he made contact with anyone else, but heading down this start-finish straight, the McLaren Tablet Storm is in Paddy's slipstream. Is it going to threaten him going into the first turn?
On
Indeed,
the
he is. He's
inside.
going to break to the inside. Side by side go the McLaren and the Alpha Tower, but Paddy just about resisting Tablet Storm, and the battle will continue on through the Retropos and heading towards turn 4. The Alpha Tower is still ahead, but Maxi Monster now throwing
Is he gonna get it
himself
the
into
overtake
contention
done?
side by side. And it's still as you were between these three because Tablet Storm hanging it around the outside, keeping the Mercedes at bay, Mickey.
Yeah, that's so close between them. The top three, as we said before, actually the top four, because Italian is in this fight, and it's actually a bit going with some oversteer out of turn 9, losing some time to Maxi Monster, but the top 3 and the top 4 is actually really close and getting some really good fights, with Saturn actually separating the top 6 to the 7th place and down, with Jahamas. Did Jahamas boxed and we didn't? Yeah, Jahamas
Yeah, he
boxed.
must have.
Yeah,
He must
Jahamas
have. But
has
whilst we're
done
talking
one
about
stop
that,
with Maxi Monster
yeah,
actually overtaking Tablet Storm. But now with the DRS, we're gonna get a little bit more action, we can't say. Down
yep, it
for
seems
turn
so.
4, no one is actually trying. Maximum Tablet Storm backing out of the opportunity that he saw into turn 4 with Theo the first penalty of this sprint race, with Italian trying to get to the inside of Storm, but actually getting on the grass and losing some time.
Oh, Tabula, I think tapping the rear of the Mercedes, going into the right-hander, but they're coming, funneling through the final bits of this middle sector. One more braking zone of this circuit. Tablet Storm getting out wide. That's going to penalise him all the way down this start-finish straight.
Yeah.
Maxi Monster will have DRS on Paddy, so that will nullify the threat from the McLaren behind. Italian closing in on Tablet Storm. That there is the battle for third place, but Paddy and Maxi Monster pretty much nose to tail going on to lap 4 of 12 here at the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. The champion, the established champion here in Tier AM, holding on to the lead, but for how much longer? Because the Mercedes, Mickey, is on the softer, therefore grippier compound tyre.
Yeah, we saw that that pretty much we can't say everyone has choose the soft compound, and its top 5 is actually all as Arctic, Storm and Paddy has choose the medium compound to go maybe for a little bit longer and get the advantage on the overcut, while everyone else besides Torel and Theo, has choose the soft compound as Paddy did, as Maxi Monster did.
Well. Maxi
Johannes and
Monster is
Italian.
closer to Paddy on this occasion, but Tablet Storm is closer to the Mercedes. But the Mercedes with DRS has the AlphaTauri ahead of him, but for how much longer? Because look at the straight line speed of Maxi Monster as he blasts past Paddy and into the lead of this Sao Paulo sprint. It is Maxi Monster ahead of Paddy, ahead of Tablet Storm, but the AlphaTauri looking to fight back against Maxi Monster. This time he will have DRS. Can he attempt a move perhaps going into turn 4? Not quite, he's just a little bit too far behind. But my, that shows you, Mickey, how powerful the DRS is.
Yeah, and not even the DRS, even the ERS on that Mercedes, because we saw, I don't know if you saw that, but on the last lap, in the second DRS zone, he actually saved his ERS, not even using it. Why that could have been before early overtake, and he saved that for another occasion. That was this overtake with the DRS on the last corner.
Absolutely, but Paddy is not relenting, and Maxi Monster struggling with the rear, and he's now trying to block the AlphaTauri's route. They're now heading down the start-finish straight. The Mercedes goes out wide. Paddy slips through. Maxi Monster is going to relinquish the lead, and Tablet Storm, he's closing in on the AlphaTauri too.
With the DRS, we can't see how powerful it is, as you said before. Now Maxi Monster, I think he has the DRS, yes he does. Is Paddy without it? And Tablet Storm seems to be too. Actually getting used to the situation between Paddy and Maxi Monster, with him with no DRS, and just storming through the third place holder, with Italian actually close to that podium, and Arctic really close to.
Tablet Storm lost the rear of the McLaren. He's now lost sync slightly to Paddy. Italian making a move.
Maxi Monster is out. He's out on the grass.
Indeed, even the safety car has been called.
Yeah. We saw maybe Italian actually getting a bit too close and maybe even hitting the Mercedes. Drama for the Mercedes driver there. Actually so good of a race. Coming out on the last couple of laps, but now it has all ended. Can't he maybe regain a bit of positions and get again on the podium fight? That is the question.
That is indeed the question, and what a question it is. We will have the pack reassemble nose to tail going into the final few laps of this race. It's now Paddy that leads Tablet Storm, Italian, Skull, Saturn, Maxi Monster, Keysboard, Moose. It will only be the top 8 that score points in this sprint, and outside the top 8 we have Theo, Oliver, Terrell, Jahames and Morgan. But Mickey, that it just allows the action to calm down for one brief moment. We will have perhaps about 5 laps of racing to the checkered flag. How critical is it going to be for the drivers to get their tyres back into the right temperature window?
Well, we can't say that with these fast corners, they actually can have a little bit of the opportunity to back down a bit from the safety car in these laps. Of course, not when the safety car is coming into the pit lane. To just maybe slide a bit, or as we know, just put the brake balance all the way up, and using a really good technique to let the brakes heat and the tires, as the brakes heated, they will be heated too.
Well, my oh my, do we have something special on our way? We will have what will look to be about 4 laps of racing to the checkered flag.
Yeah. We actually can't see that no one has pulled into the pit lane, which is understandable but could it actually be an advantage to put in his car with new softs? Paddy putting new softs on him, as we know, really fast on the soft compound. Could it actually be a good opportunity for him?
Yeah, no, this could open up some opportunities to the ensuing pack, particularly those who have pitted the lead driver of those being Moose. But it's going to be interesting to see how much performance he will have in hand over the 7 drivers ahead. The driver immediately ahead is his teammate's Keys Board, so I don't think he is going to withstand him for too long. But we're expecting the safety car to peel off into the pits at the end of this lap. That means Paddy will take over proceedings, going down the start-finish straight, and he will choose when to put down the power. So you'll see the Mercedes AMG safety car rocketing off into the pits. Paddy will slow the pack down. No overtaking until the start-finish line, Mickey, but there is going to be a huge slipstream effect going into the first corner.
Yeah, we can see all the drivers weaving now, coming out to the DRS zone. When is Paddy gonna get out the power? He's gonna get it now down. Jahame's 5-second time penalty. Oh, Torrell, pretty good with Italian trying on the outside. And what is this gonna now? He's gonna be now on the inside, but Tablestorm just get a better exit on these medium compound. With Arctic getting down the order, he's spun out on the
He made contact with Max Monster, perhaps going through I think through turn 2. With that contact, he dropped the rear of the car, he spun around and dropped himself down into 13th, and what most certainly will be a non-scoring point in this race. Moose and Keys Board igniting in battle. We have Keys Board still ahead of Moose. We have a driver going off track. I think Jahame's it may have been
fighting with Longus Morgan and anyone else, but as you said, Keys and Moose were fighting.
Indeed, we have Morgan ahead of Oliver now, but through the final couple of corners, Tabula is within the rear wing of Paddy, tempting a move perhaps as we head on towards lap 10 of 12 here at the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. The McLaren getting in the AlphaTauri slipstream and closing in with every passing metre going into the first corner, but still Paddy will hold on to that sprint lead. The McLaren, though, trying to outmuscle the AlphaTauri with a stronger exit through turn 2 and through the Destino de Largo and onto the straight. It is still Paddy that is resisting the pressure from the McLaren. And Mickey, how difficult is it for the lead driver to hold his nerve with a driver less than a second behind?
Well, of course, we know how Paddy can actually keep his nerves down when he's leading, not committing any mistakes or anything. With Oliver spinning, we can't see.
Yep, that's 2 Ferraris that have spun in 2 loops. We have another spinner. It's Keys Board.
No. Falling down
Keys
the order.
Board looks to...
Keys.
And we have Saturn making a move on Italian, going into the right-hander. They're going to remain side by side. Now, coming towards the end of the second sector, the Red Bull has to back out of it, but he's going to be pretty much within the Alfa Romeo's rear wing, going down the start-finish straight once more, but it's Tabulet making a case for the sprint lead, or is he? Because he's getting out of the slipstream provisionally, so he's not going to launch an assault going down the start-finish straight. Saturn looking to close in on the Alfa Romeo, chancing yet prancing around the outside of the first corner. That lends itself into the inside line going into the second apex. Ask Italian somehow fending him off. There's contact between the pair, and Saturn now looking to establish his place ahead of the Alfa Romeo, side by side, going into turn 4. The Alfa Romeo bolder on the brakes, but the Red Bull hanging it around the outside. This is a battle that will not relent. It is relentless, it is rigorous, and it's the Alfa Romeo who will seize it. Mickey, what a battle that was.
What a battle that was. You are completely right. We see now Saturn going wide, and maybe a bit shocked with the battle it just had with Italian that lasted almost half a lap, if I don't get it wrong, and really close between the two, with Italian really good defending, and Saturn really good exiting these apexes. But I think that the primary move that made the Italian actually overtaking and retaking third place to Saturn was the DRS in that first sector, which gained a bit of time to get the inside of turn 4 and then getting a better exit out of turn 5 and everything. And this everything adds up to this spectacular
Indeed.
battle.
Indeed, it is the last lap of this sprint, and there goes Tablet Storm, chancing a move to the inside of Paddy. The AlphaTauri, who started this sprint from pole position,
Oh!
is not ready to give up his crown just in this race. And Tablet Storm, having spun, has lost part of his front wing, and that may just consolidate the AlphaTauri's lead to the checkered flag. What went on there, Mickey?
We saw that Paddy and Tablet Storm just collided on the exit on turn 5, and that is actually a really critical corner for traction. And as we can see, Storm trying to defend
Oh,
the
and
Italian
Saturn
and
goes through into
Saturn,
second
but
place.
has nothing to do and is dropping down the order in P5 now. But is Morgan actually gonna get P5 there with maybe more speed, but he has not enough overtake button to get enough speed, with Tablet Storm getting the nice speed, but still P3 after everyone's penalty. But good job to Paddy, which takes this checkered flag in the last lap and wins the sprint race here.
Indeed. Well, the two that were separated by a millisecond in qualifying came to blows on the final tour of this Sao Paulo sprint. It's Paddy who took pole, it's Paddy who took the sprint win, and now the champion is looking to make it a hat-trick here in Sao Paulo, Mickey. But boy, oh boy, did that get nerve-wracking towards the end.
Yeah, that was pretty exciting towards the end because everyone was just trying their best to overtake the car that they had in front.
Wow, what a race we have in store, if that is anything to go by. Yeah.
So, Jahama's now last on the points with P8, with Moose, Torel, Oliver, Keys, Buds, and Arctic getting no points for this sprint race. Theo in 7th place, Morgan in 6th, Italian in 5th after a really good podium fight, Starting in 4th, Storm in 3rd, Maxi Monster in 2nd, and Paddy that has won the race, the sprint race.
Well. We have a 36-lap Grand Prix ahead of us, and well,
it's gonna be rainy.
It is going to be in the wet. That is going to be quite something.
Even because everyone, in my opinion, has dry setups on, and we know how much of a setup can actually change the situation.
Well, Mickey, how much of a challenge is it now going to be in the wet?
It's going to be pretty interesting. We're going to see if anyone actually hides a wet setup under their car and maybe get a bit more pace of anyone else. Of course, as we know, Brazil in the wet can be really exciting of a race, of a last race of the season, as we saw in 2008 and in 2011, not 2012, sorry, with the race completely wet and really close to some crashes, but has that bit of interesting that could really add up to this race.
Well. Be 36 laps ahead of us. We know Sao Paulo is renowned for adverse weather conditions. conditions, the drivers will hope that they can keep on top of that and will ensure themselves the best place all the way to the checkered flag. It's going to be a very different challenge to what we saw in the sprint. Obviously, we have that relentless racing for which we are accustomed to here in Formula Premier, but in the wet, you're not just fighting against other cars, you are fighting against yourself, and that is going to be part of the spectacle for which we will enjoy here in Formula Premier at the Sao Paulo Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And in fact, we are going to turn our attention to the lights. And for the final time this season, we go from the lights to the action. Maxi Monster looking to make an impression on Paddy and actually passing him on the way towards the first corner. Tablet Storm also bettering the pole sitter off the line. The AlphaTauri relegated down into third place going into the first corner. It looks like all drivers have kept it relatively clean going through the first corner. I think Theo has run a little wide, but look at Paddy trying to repass Tablet Storm on the way towards turn 4. He's seeking that outside line. He's going to break later. Well, he hopes than the McLaren, but Tablet Storm just about fending him off.
Something happened with Key's bots we can't see. With Oliver actually spinning out of turn 4, which is a critical corner. With Arctic and Bogus Morgan fighting for places, but actually Paddy and Saturn fighting for third place. We can't see that Paddy has got a really bad start, we can't say. On the inside, Saturn really close to hitting them. But
yeah, no, it is literally nose to tail between these two.
Oh, Italian's out! Is that Italian is into grass?
My oh my, he's now shuffled down the place. Theo ran wide also. No, not Bogus Morgan ran wide through the exit of the braking zone. So it is currently Maxi Monster ahead of Tablet Storm, but the McLaren closing in, going into the first corner. Tablet Storm late on the brakes, making a dart to the inside. Maxi Monster fending him off, but after the exit of the second corner, the McLaren applying the throttle, looking to outmuscle the Silver Arrow, and through the straight, heading towards turn 4. They're bashing wheels, but the McLaren to the inside seeks and seizes the race lead. Tablet Storm leading from Maxi Monster. Paddy very much in the action in this trio of race leaders right now, but Mickey, these drivers are going absolutely for it here at Sao Paulo.
Yeah, what a battle we are having actually in the sprint, and now in the race, in the wet, actually seeing a bit more action, as I wished actually, with Storm a bit of a wheel spin, but leaving actually Maxi Monster behind, with Paddy actually challenging him on the outside. Could we see maybe Maxi Monster with maybe even slowing down the pack by defending Paddy and Saturn now on the inside of Paddy, taking the place of the now champion overtaking
winner.
Maxi Monster.
Indeed, Maxi Monster down to third, could he be down to fourth? Paddy chancing a move to the inside of the first corner. These two already have run side by side in this race. They will do so once more, but Paddy this time will prevail. Maxi Monster losing the rear of the car. He's not going to be overtaken by Jahames. By the way, the Aston Martin has had a flying start.
Yeah, I saw that, and as he actually mentioned that in qualifying, he had a poor result, but can actually beat someone else out of the race pace, not overtaking, but staying ahead of Italian quite easily, we can say. Hitting Maxi Monster! Maybe losing his...
the rear of Maxi Monster.
But now he's on the outside of the corner. On the inside, he's actually really aggressive, hitting him again. And letting Maxi Monster drop down to 6th, letting pass Italian. But as we speak, Saturn with Sorel and Tablet Storm is out. The race leader's out and Sorel is out at the almost the same time.
Yeah. Tablet Storm has been caught out somewhere, either just putting down the power or being caught out by the virtual safety car conditions, but that is a driver who was seeking race victory here in Sao Paulo. He is going to leave with absolutely nothing from this Grand Prix. Saturn leads this race ahead of Paddy, ahead of Jahames and Italian. Maxi Monster shuffled down to 5th place. The virtual safety car has been deployed, so the drivers are going to have to slow down for the moment. Oh no, it's actually the full safety car out on track. It says virtual safety car on my screen, but it's the full safety car that has been deployed, so the drivers will stack up amongst one another, and it's not just a race neutralization.
Yeah. I can't say that from Saturn camera I saw that Storm just smashed into the wall, so maybe that was a bit of oversteer or probably wheel spin in those wet tricky conditions, as this is a track where the elevation changes are everywhere, and going uphill the traction is really critical. No one boxing, and I think that's a really good idea not to box because of these conditions. But the question is the conditions gonna maybe change? Because we can't see that maybe the rain is getting lighter and lighter over time.
Absolutely, yeah. The track is starting to dry out just a little bit, so the drivers will be thinking about the move to the dry compound tyres. So that's going to throw another spanner into the works.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is, well, lap 5 of 36, and we already have some big moments to take away from this race. Paddy and Jahames, for some
Actually
reason, were
getting
swapping.
close, yeah. Probably Chahamas just missed his braking point in the safety car and just overtook Paddy, but we saw that he just gave the position back to him immediately.
Yeah, no, so hopefully it's not going to be too much of a problem between the two. It must also be noted that Saturn, leading this race, does have a time penalty already. So that will cost him just a few seconds. He will hope not to add and tally up the cost of the time penalty. Nonetheless, it's Saturn who leads Pazzi, who leads Jahames and Italian. And with only 11 drivers left, each of the drivers will be desperately hoping now that they can actually score points in this race.
Yeah, with Keys Bards exiting the pit lane now. What? He's in the intermediate compound with everyone on 4 laps old. So Saturn, as you said, might actually hope to actually do something of a gap for his penalty. I am now gonna check what penalty is in 3-second penalty, and the safety car is not coming in this lap still. So there will be another lap of safety car and one lap less of racing.
Well. So we move on to lap 6 of 36 with Saturn leading this race. The rain is still falling down just a little bit, so we're not closing in just yet on the dry phase of this race, but you do feel like it is coming.
Yeah, I feel it is coming because watching on the onboard, the rain is starting to get lighter and almost not visible, but still there is some rays coming down from the sky, and the track is not gonna dry up until the sun is out. So it is not time for slicks yet, but could someone maybe on lap 20 or lap 50 maybe try the gamble if there is gonna be another safety car?
Well, nonetheless, yeah, it's going to be interesting. The safety car may come into the pits at the end of this lap. You certainly hope so, because we want to get back racing as soon as possible. But Mickey, how much of a challenge is it going to be for the drivers to transition to the dry? Because each have their own setups, perhaps more adept to different conditions. So are we seeing the drivers having to place a lot of emphasis upon the timing of their calls?
Yeah, in my opinion, yes, they are, and getting maybe better times over time, but I saw from the onboard of Paddy that Saturn has front wing damage on his right side. Could this maybe compromise his performance and letting Paddy pass kind of easily, we can't say,
Mm.
seeing that Saturn
Uh,
has the pace, but still that does not come to my mind a podium on his name. If I don't get it
yeah,
wrong,
no,
of course.
that
But
is worth
Saturn,
some thought. But we're going back underway here at Sao Paulo. The safety car has come into the pit. Satin still leads this race. Is any driver going to attempt a move going into the first corner? Moose thought about it. Oliver made one going into the first corner, so
look
he is
at
now the meat
that.
in a sandwich of Ferraris. But
Driving
Paddy into the lead of the race in contact.
is being contact. Yes, and between Saturn and Jahames, but Saturn still keeps up P2, surprisingly, because I saw everyone actually overtaking him, but still he managed to get his car. There is a virtual safety car. Maxi Monster and Arctic are out. I saw I
My,
saw
oh my.
can't maybe see Italian still there, no. But I saw Italian going wide because he dropped out in P9. And is this
Yeah.
this is a safety car, full safety car.
This is,
You can't see the
yeah, the
safety
safety
car
car is
going
out on the
out.
track.
And there is another safety car. As soon as we started racing again, there is another one. And it's not optimal for now.
Indeed. So the drivers again will have to just not take it easy, but definitely calm down the action here because there has been so much of it in just less than a quarter of this race so far. So yeah, the drivers will be slowing down behind the safety car. They'll join it in just a few moments' time. But well, only 9 drivers left. So if they all make it to the checkered flag, they will all score points in this final round of the season. We have Tyrrell, Tablet Storm, Skull, or Arctic, and Maxi Monster all out of the race. Paddy, the race leader, has just joined behind the safety car right now. Morgan and Italian switching to another set of tyres and changing their front wings. So it's going to be interesting again because if you get the younger your tyres, the longer you can run into this race, and particularly when the transition to the dry tyres, you do want the grip just in that period before you switch to the dries. And my oh my, I think Ask Italian actually clipped the wall coming out of the
Oh,
pit lane entry.
I cannot see any front wing damage from the onboard, so
Maybe he avoided damage, but he did definitely. It looked like he tapped the wall as he tried to put down the throttle off of the exit of the pit lane. Of course, being on cold tyres.
on the wet, so
That
it's pretty critical.
absolutely. But like I said, under the safety car once more in this Sao Paulo Grand Prix. We've seen contenders rise and fall in this race. Be sure that there will be more to come.
Yeah. For me, knowing 2 a.m., there are gonna be more to come because all the drivers want places, and it's a great thing they are really aggressive on them, but still, the crashes can't be a part of this race and a part of this entire season, as we saw multiple crashes everywhere in Spain. We saw that in Silverstone in past races, and in almost the majority of the races here in Tier AM and in Tier Pro. If I don't get it wrong, you have to say your opinion to me from Tier Pro.
I don't really think it's anything too adverse, to be honest. I think as much as I think the leagues are quite similar in that regard, but yeah,
Okay.
nothing too drastic, I'd say. But yeah, no, it's proving an interesting point in this race, at least with these two safety car periods. We just want to get some racing action under our belts. Mickey, do you think the conditions are getting any better?
For now, the condition seems to be a little bit of an heavy rain coming down from the onboard, because the rain is more visible. The track, we can't see that the drivers are struggling to get the tires under temperature again. Safety car in this lap as we speak, and we can see them weaving around the track so much. They has to be there has to be a problem with everyone's tires. But now, when is now Paddy putting out the power, actually creating a bit of a gap between him and Saturn, but Saturn's still not ready to try, with Jahamis on the inside of call sign Saturn, but there's nothing to do. On the outside here, he's trying to switch back, with Theo and Ruse getting down the order and spinning actually on the last couple of corners. Even Oliver is spinning, Keys is spinning, Theo and Moose. This is critical for all their races.
Absolutely. You do not want to be losing sync, because now it's going to be less likely to have safety cars, because we've already had 4 drivers eliminated from this race. For those drivers that have just spun and lost touch with the leading pack, that is, like you said, Mickey, critical for this race.
Really close to
chance to
contact
move
there.
inside of Saturn. The Red Bull has run out wide, and that means the Aston Martin now up into second place, and he's got his eyes set upon Paddy in the race lead.
Yeah. But can Jahamet actually get a bit more of a taste of Paddy's pace, or can he maybe even close in to the race leader and the current champion? That's the question, because Kansai Saturn actually on the inside, now on the outside of this S section, but Italian trying to get him, but still nothing to do, with Saturn really hungry for a second place to regain his place, pushing a bit Jahames wide, and we can see Italian spun, and even Morgan
hit Italian. Morgan hit Italian. He's let Italian back through, but again, that's more contact in this race. Jahames and Saturn still wheel to wheel going into the middle sector. The Aston Martin is ahead, but for how much longer? Because Saturn battling back to the inside line. They will remain throat to throat going into this next right-hander. It's the Aston Martin for the moment ahead, but then he goes in quite deep. The Red Bull looking to respond, but he got a lot of oversteer off of the exit of the corner.
Yeah, really actually unfortunate for the oversteer, because maybe the rear tires are now a bit more hot, and that is actually we can actually see the results of the tires being overheated a bit, because Saturn was, and now is running wide on the first corner, and has to pay attention to the track and to his tire temperature. But there is no sign of front wing damage, so there is indeed some overheating going on there. But he actually tried, and really good thinking there, of a switchback down in the turn 10. But Paddy just flying away from Jahames from second place. With
Oliver's gone in deep. Into the right hander. Keys board has surged through up into 6th place. He will look to turn that into 5th.
But I think that Oliver is a bit distracted now, because I saw that in turn 8 he locked his car into neutral, and he spun now. He has spun and he's out of the race. He had so much wheel spin, and he's just spun into turn 10, and that is another safety car. Tragic moment with Moose stopping on track, and Paddy with a 9-second lead, actually giving up every single second or even tenth that he has gained on second place up because of this safety car. With Jahames, Saturn and Keys in the pits, Jahames exiting the pit lane now, with Italian back in second place after his tragic start of the race. But can he hold on to Paddy's pace and maybe even take those intermediate tires to the end?
Absolutely. Well, that's our third safety car in about 10 laps.
Yeah.
So obviously now down to 8 drivers. I talked about how the drivers who spun at the previous safety car restart were going to be particularly gutted with their mistakes, but they've been given some reprieve. They're able to climb back to the rear of the race leader. So yeah, definitely got pulled something back in that regards. But we've only cleared a third's distance, and we've already got our third safety car, I believe, of this race, Bogus Morgan, with a time penalty. But how tricky is this going to be for Paddy, Mickey, with the fact that he's got to settle with the field closing in on him after building such a significant lead?
Well, of course, if I was Paddy, I would be pretty pissed because he's built a fantastic gap between him and second place, that was Jahames at the time. Paddy into the pit lane, and maybe he has thought of Italian actually getting the possibility to overtake him on track with his fresher intermediate compound. Of course, I was actually about to say that Paddy would be actually under pressure from Italian a bit more than it would be with everyone, not only for his really similar pace, but with his advantage on the tires. And actually, Paddy did not drop back too much because he's in 4th place, so can actually climb back to P1 with new tires. If only Saturn and Jahames could actually hold on into him, with Italian maybe creating another gap with his pretty similar pace to Paddy. With the Red Bull actually of Saturn with damage, front wing damage, as we've seen on his right side, not left side. I don't think that Paddy has anything too, but we're gonna see that now. No, he hasn't. But
I'd be surprised if Paddy, I would be surprised if Paddy had damage right now, at least, particularly after his pit stop.
yeah, that has to piss him off. It happens. But safety car in this lap, and in my opinion, Sutton has to box. He has to box, or maybe wait for another safety car, because he has pretty serious wing damage. He could actually burn out every single improvement and try to the race. Saturn coming into the pit lane, where now Italian
Back away.
getting
Italian
out the
leads the
power.
race from Jahames. Oh, he's tapped the race leader going into turn 1. The Alfa Romeo loses the rear. Paddy closing in on the pair of them.
Outside, he has to go away from the track, but that is not, in my opinion, a runoff area, as I know. But still, he had to escape that situation. But Jahames actually leading the race in his 3rd race ever, I think, if I don't get it wrong. But Paddy backing out from Jahames into turn 6 and 7. But can't Paddy maybe try in the DRS zone? Of course, we know DRS because we are in the wet. Maybe with his overtake button, which can give him pretty good advantage. But Jahames actually pulling out a bit from Paddy and pulling out from Theo, which now is in 3rd place. We can see, and Keys in 4th place. Really good start from them. and they are the people that I was looking for to get a really good result at the start of the race and at the start of the qualifying. As I said, I don't know if you remember, but Paddy just fighting Jahames back for first place, with Jahames holding off Paddy, and Bongus Morgan actually going down the order is spun. He has spun, and Saturn is not even close to Morgan right now.
Yeah, it's Saturn being cut adrift from the pack, but Paddy, with a time penalty, like the race leader, is just looking for a way by. He needs that track position if he wants to feel secure in this race heading through the tight and twisty middle sector. This is where you start to see the difference in grip.
Yeah.
You think it's the fast corners where you can make so much time. Equally, or if not more so, it's through this middle sector. And Jahames looking relatively composed at the moment. Paddy is sensing as many opportunities as he can. Theo is going to look to keep in touch with the leading pair, particularly as he does not have a time
Theo going
penalty.
actually wide and letting Keys pass. Keys is on the podium places.
Wow.
Thrilling race for him with Theo going wide. Something has happened to him, surely, with Paddy in the with the fastest lap. And oh, they've hit it! Paddy and Jahames collided. I don't know if you saw that, but I think that Jahames just stopped the right, the fuck, freak, I can't.
It's through the first corner, but that's given Keysboard the race lead. And wow, you cannot believe it. The action just keeps on unfolding in the most peculiar way.
Yeah.
Like I said, we have Keysboard who started from pretty much the back row of this race.
Yeah. He started, I think it was like maybe last place.
Yeah. No, it's no, not last place, second to last in this race, but it was definitely the last row. He leaves some Theo, who effectively leads this race once the time penalties are applied.
Yeah. So Keys actually pulling out from Theo, that is defending pretty good from Paddy. Can we see these two drivers actually getting a really good race, with Moose spinning again and trying to get his car back on track out of the turn 12, with Theo and Paddy really close, and Keys actually flying away from Theo, we can't see more pace than him. Let me just check the fastest lap. Yep. Theo has a 2/10 slower fastest lap, and it could be actually 2/10 slower per lap. And with fighting with Paddy, the current champion, and which is now really hungry for a truck place and that second place, with Theo running wide and Paddy actually going to the overtake, maybe thinking about the switchback around the inside. Now the outside is no longer alongside Theo, but we can't see that now. Paddy retries again around the outside, but Theo has just more traction around the fast and slow corners, but under braking, Paddy is superior, with Keys 3 seconds now to the race lead, to the second place.
Indeed. Well, Paddy behind Theo, but for how much longer going into the first corner? The Alpine remains ahead as we progress onto lap 19 of 36, and now as well, Theo earns himself a time penalty, and Paddy is going to dispatch of him going through turn 3 quite easily. But it's Keysboard in the lead. 3 seconds is the gap to Paddy. But now that the race has calmed down, Mickey, how critical is it going to be for consistency all the way to the checkered flag?
Well, of course, if we talk about consistency, we have to check the tires. How old are they? We can't see that Paddy and Keys are almost the same for in terms of tires life, but I think that Italian can put in some really consistent laps, even being P8, can put in consistent stops and maybe getting up the order a bit. But of course, Paddy and Keys not having that similar option in terms of pace. With we can see Keys using all of his ERS here to gain as much time as possible, but still consistency is the key in this race for this conditions that still does not look to improve or anything, but we are hoping actually to end this race in maybe a dump condition between.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's going to take great skill from the drivers, and we've seen how tricky it is with all the crashes and moments of contact that we have seen thus far. Lap 20 of 36. Interestingly, the only driver left in this race who does not have a time penalty is Moose in the Haas. But he's currently down in P6.
Which I want to remember this historical moment in Saudi Arabia when they tried to go for a six stop strategy that actually did not work well, because if I don't get it wrong, he retired, but it was kind of P4 if I remember right, and has really good pace. But I think that he crashed with someone, I think was Maxim Monster, if I don't get it wrong.
Yeah. Well, nonetheless, we still have Keysboard leading Paddy, leading Theo, but Jahames is on the charge and wants that place on the rostrum. He has an 8-second time penalty coming his way if he does not serve, and it is next pit stop. Theo has just the 3, but going into the first corner, Jahames braking to the inside, looking to displace of Theo, but the Alpine remaining ahead, but through the exit of turn 2 and on towards turn 3, the Aston Martin up into 3rd place. Theo down to 4th. And now Jahames, with that extra time penalty, will just look to push on and breach a gap to Theo.
Yeah, but I saw on the braking into the first couple of corners that Jahames just gave a bit of throttle when he downshifted. I don't know if that's a tactic or it was not intentional, but actually that might given him a bit more traction on the exit. But something even more interesting is that Keys, for now, has the same pace as Paddy, and Paddy improving his actual lap. And can we see maybe Keys holding off from him and maybe even not boxing anymore? Can we see it?
It could just be. It's going to be a thrilling race to the checkered flag. We've cleared half distance in this race, just about, or just less than 15 laps remaining.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting one all the way to the very end. Tier AM, final round of this season here in Formula Premier, and it's Keysboard who leads the champion by 3.5 seconds.
And that's actually really good finish of the season with a nice battle with someone that is not known for being in the podium, and now he's leading the race, being actually in a really good place. But as we speak, Italian Moose can't have actually really good battle for now. Can Italian maybe squeeze ahead of Moose? Yes, he can, out of the corner of turn 4. That's actually really good, with Moose losing time on the exit. And now Italian is gonna have a look maybe into Bongus Morgan with Saturn, a 3-second time penalty, and Moose still the only one which hasn't got any penalties.
Yeah, that is very interesting indeed. He would currently finish in 6th place, it seems, after all the time penalties are applied. But Keysboard, like you've already said, Mickey, lapping at similar, if not identical speed as Paddy. This is going to be a major task for Paddy to win this race. We have yellow flags out on track. That's because Moose has gone for a spin.
Yeah. Let's just check.
Moose going for a spin, dropping down now to last place on the road. We talked about how useful it is for him not to have a time penalty. But if you're finishing last on the road, it's not going to be as beneficiary as it could be. But Keysboard, his teammates leading out in front.
Yeah, we can't
And,
say.
well, this is just... Go on, Mickey, sorry.
No worries actually. So we can't say that Keys Bus has actually really interesting pace, because he is right now with the last lap really consistent, with less than half a tenth separating his lap now and his last lap. But the interesting thing is that on lap 22 he was faster than 2/10 than Paddy, and that is enormous. That's kind
Is it
of
ever?
good. If Paddy
And Jahames actually...
Paddy into the pit lane, I didn't realize it. I was looking at the race director, and I saw like
He's serving a time penalty, though.
yeah.
He is serving a 5-second time penalty, so he's going to drop behind Morgan. In fact, he's going to... Well, I was going to say drop behind Ask Italian. He's not, because Italian is out of the race.
Yeah, he retired. He just retired in the pit lane, actually.
Well,
but can we see Paddy without any penalties, maybe even overtaking everyone else at the end of the race? But can Keys actually keep up with his pace that he's actually having right now? And I think he can, because he has Jahamas with an 8-second time penalty behind him. He's only has 6. So that could be actually a really, really thrilling end of the race, and of course, end of the season. But Keys has actually gained 11 places from where he started, and it's enormous effort. And for me, he just got the driver of the day award, in my opinion, right now.
Well, let's hope the commentator's curse has not struck. We've got yellow flags out on track as Italian's car is parked up. But yeah, Paddy now making a move on Morgan as the Alpine comes into the pits. In fact, to get rid of his...
getting rid of his penalty too.
Well, this is very interesting indeed. If Keysboard pitted and served his penalty, this would be close with Paddy.
Yeah, this would be really close, and really close even to Theo, because Theo is in there. I really, really hope that the commentator curse didn't struck there.
Yeah, well,
lap 25.
Yeah, lap 25 of 36, just a few more tours left, and then we will be concluding season 5 of Formula Premier. Keysboard just creeping through the final couple of corners of this track. It'll be interesting to see if he comes in to make his pit stop in a few moments' time.
No, it's not.
He's not. He's going to remain out on track.
Is he actually willing to not let Paddy gain 20 seconds from him? Because he has to gain 20 seconds in 10 laps, and that maybe Keys is thinking like, let's not risk it. And that could be actually really, really pleased, because
that would not be out of the question. Jahames making a move on Saturn. Theo coming into the pit, so he's going to drop down the order. And now, yes, that means Paddy is 25 seconds behind Keysboard, but it will be reduced to about 19 seconds with Keysboard's time penalty. At about 10.5 laps to go for our race leader. And my oh my, he is just praying and hoping that it's a smooth ride to the checkered flag.
Yeah, he has to gain, Paddy, if he wants to win, he has to gain a little bit more than 2 seconds per lap. And with new intermediates, that could actually be a possibility. But is Keys gonna box this lap and maybe have a really, really close fight with him? He's not. Keys is not pulling up, he's pulling into the pit lane.
Well.
But can't Paddy do it? He's not improving on his lap, in his fastest lap, so for now he's not. as we speak, Jahames and Theo are actually having a really good battle, which now ended. But Theo is looking to get another go to Jahames. Paddy with the fastest lap.
For Keyboard, tyre degradation is going to be such a critical factor.
Yeah.
If these tyres do not last with great speed till the checkered flag, this could be very much Paddy's race. Jahames now with the quickest lap of the race thus far. This could be nail-biting stuff, Mickey.
Yeah, but I don't know how much did Paddy gain actually in this last lap, but he's fast, really fast out of the first sector, and in this track actually feeling really confident with those new tires. Can he hold on to his current pace and maybe gain some more seconds out of Keys?
We'll have to see. This is just becoming more and more engrossing. Lap 28 of 36 is underway. 9 to go. The gap is 21 seconds out on road. It's effectively 15 seconds once the time penalties are applied. And it's still Paddy going to have to catch at the rate of just under 2 seconds a lap.
Yeah. But we are of course not excluding a late race safety car. And that could be actually a strange factor, because Keys could actually pull into the pit lane and maybe even serve his penalty before Paddy overtakes him in the track.
That's a very interesting theory there, Mickey, and one that is not out of the possibility of playing later on in these final few tours.
Yeah.
Through the final couple of corners, Keysport just looking to extract every bit of grip that he can, a little bit of understeer into the final braking zone of the circuit, but he will leather down the throttle, going down, well, through the kinks and heading towards the start-finish straight. Time is ticking, and it's Keysport versus Paddy for the race win. Keysport looks to reach out, Paddy looks to restrain him.
Yeah, this is actually one of the best races we have here, with a non so popular for the podiums here in Formula Premier key spots, and really hungry Paddy that has won so many races. Now he is the champion of Season 5 Tier AM here in Formula Premier, and Jahames in P3 pulling out from Theo. And the order, we can say that without even a safety car, it's gonna stay like this, we hope.
Oh, let's see. The gap is about 18.5 seconds. Keysport just has one more braking zone on this lap, and he will be on his way to leading the pack on towards lap 30 of the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Yeah. Paddy and Moose are the only drivers out on track without a time penalty, having come into the pit lane to serve theirs. But it's Keysport from Paddy, from Jahames, then comes Theo, Saturn, Moose, and Morgan. Lap 30 of 36. The gap straddling at around 18 seconds now.
Yeah. But can we say that he has not gained for now? He has gained
not
so
not
much.
enough. It's not enough. You're right.
It's not enough. Paddy's not gaining. He's not gaining enough time, and getting similar pace to Keys actually. If I don't get it wrong, let me just check it real quick.
This is just supreme time management though from the Haas. So much pressure whilst you're leading a race on tyres. The Tyrrell, his teammate though, through the final sector has spun. He's going to, well, is he going to claim onto 6th place? I think he might just about do so. But Moose in 6th place now has the Alpine right on his tail. Keysport coming through the middle sector as well. He's actually quite, well, not too far away from lapping Moose and Morgan.
But
it seems like it won't.
That is only going to happen if they start fighting.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Like
that's a good point.
They are. actually only a second away from themselves.
Yeah, this is tense. This is really tense for Key's board. One moment, one snap, and it will be over for the Haas. He just needs to
Yeah.
keep it on the island and keep his cool.
Yeah, he has to keep it smooth as he can't do, because we all know how he can't actually keep it smooth and going safe. Because now Paddy, if we say he has to gain more than 2 seconds a lap, way more than 2 seconds a lap, to just catch the 6 seconds gap between his and Key. So
yeah, it's this is still on a knife edge because we know that Key's board's tyres will be getting older and older, but so too will Paddy's. It's such an interesting prospect.
yeah, with Keys now 18 laps old intermediates, and last time around when he had these old tires, it didn't go too well, but it was on dry conditions, and this is completely different. I know racing with Keys in Silverstone, I know how good he is in terms of pace.
Oh,
Bongus Morgan and Moose collided as I was talking.
the Alpine out of this race. Are we going to have a
Yeah.
safety car? I don't think so.
No, I'm honestly hoping not. But we are not gonna have a
Yeah,
safety car.
it means we're down to 6 drivers in the final race of the season. Key's board still leading it. It's about 15.5 seconds. He is closing in, you have to say, at the moment.
Yeah, Paddy is doing an incredible job, but I think that is not enough. He will not. He's not enough. It's not enough to gain that much of Keys with 8 laps old intermediates. But of course, 15 seconds in what? What was that? 10 laps?
We've got about just over 4 laps left for Key's board.
Yeah, and that is a really, really good opportunity for him, because now Moose is actually gonna be lapped by his teammate, and okay, we're now hoping that maybe Moose can do something about Paddy gaining and gaining on Keys.
Yeah, time is running out for the champion to make a dent into Key's board's advantage. Lap 33 of 36.
Yeah.
Right then, so heading into the middle sector for the 33rd time in this race. Key's board leading Paddy, leading Jahames and Theo and Saturn. It just doesn't seem like it's going to be enough for Paddy at this stage. See how much younger Key's board tyres are. They're they're 11 laps younger. So that shows you how much management the Haas driver is having to do.
Yeah,
And it shows you how he's. Sorry, go on.
No, mate, go on. It's my problem. Sorry.
No. It just shows you how close he is to driving literally those tyres to a cliff. Any moment they could start to wear away significantly enough for Key's board to lose this race win. He climbs up the hill and is about to start the 34th lap of this Sao Paulo Grand Prix. It was Paddy who took pole. It was Paddy who took the win in the sprint, but Key's board at the moment is the favourite for the Grand Prix victory.
Yeah, of course he's favourite now, because Paddy's not gaining anymore, we can't see, and there is only 2 laps remaining in this thrilling race, with the rain not getting any lighter. But really good weekend actually for Paddy on the last race of the season. We're hoping to get a bit more from him, a bit of a taste more of his raw pace next season, with he coming out really close to turn 8. Now coming out of turn 8 with Keys actually having a last braking zone, and that is turn 12. And only
Into the
2
famous
laps
"Is that
remaining.
Glock" corner.
Yeah. Now Keys is gonna be starting his second last lap.
Penultimate lap, yep. Wow, this is... What an effort. What an effort
Yeah.
from Keys board.
Yeah, really good weekend that he had this Saturday. Can't see that
It's been
Paddy,
something special.
yeah, Paddy's not gaining anymore. We can't say, well, he's gaining of course, but not that amount of time he had to gain. Like 11 laps ago, he gained on the first lap. I think he gained like 4 seconds, if I don't get it wrong. And
Yeah.
Jaham is actually cooking too in third place. It's a really good weekend indeed. And Theo in fourth place. Of course, there are only 6 drivers remaining, but still, really good effort from everyone.
Indeed. Right. Keys board has one lot more lap to go. He'll cross the line, ready to start his final lap in just a few moments' time. Mickey, we've talked about, the tyre management. We've talked about having to retain that gap. But the pace he has had on these old tyres has been nothing short of phenomenal.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal, but Keys, he is actually really good at managing tires and having pace in his old tires compound. Of course, it is dangerous to drive with these old tires that he has to do 3 pit stops, but still moves spinning out in front of Paddy, of course, lapped car, the only lapped car. But still, as I was saying, Keys has so good tire management that can really challenge the best of this tier with maybe double of his tire life for now. But he's gonna have Keys for now on the last couple of corners, the last braking zone. He's indeed thrilled out.
Well, Mickey, you take us to the checkered flag. Keys board heading towards the line now.
Well, heading towards the line using all the overtake mode that he has. But Keys, after an incredible race here in Sao Paulo, is going to go on the checkered flag and take his first victory of the season and his first victory ever here on the last lap, on the last race of the season 5 in Formula Premier. What an effort for him, and what an effort from Paddy, this old champion that comes in second place with Jahames coming in. But what an effort for Keys. Congratulations.
Indeed, what a drive from him to round off the season. It's been a race full of carnage and anarchy, but the Haas was the one who had the measure of the opposition. He wins in the end by 5.5 seconds. A great drive from second last on the grid. Saturn coming towards the line now. He'll be the final driver to cross the line, but the day belongs to Keys board. Paddy looked the favourite after qualifying on pole and winning the sprint, but in the end, the Haas on older tyres just set the place alight.
Really good racing from everyone. And of course, we got to say thank you to you, Ben, for joining me
No, thank you for
today.
having me, mate.
Nah, it was a
Thank you
pleasure
for having me.
to actually doing comms with you for the first
No,
time.
it's been brilliant, mate. It's been brilliant. Well done to all the runners and well done to Formula Premier on another season. It's been some great action to witness across both leagues.
Yes, really good job from everyone this season.
Right. Well, thank you, Mickey, for your company tonight. I'm going to head off.
Yeah, I'm gonna head off too, mate. Really good
Well
job.
done, all.
Well done.